For week 14, we have Essay 2 due, and the assignment sheet for the annotated bibliography in the Essay 3, and homework 12. So, the assignment sheet. Required sources for both annotated bibliography and Essay 3. You need at least 2 opinion pieces. These are published in national or local newspapers. New York Times, Los Angeles Times, San Francisco Chronicle, Fresno Bee, Sacramento Bee. You need at least 2 of them. They may say opinion, they may say editorial, they may say op-ed. These are all fairly similar. They're 700 to 1,100 word opinions written in order to advocate a position about an issue. You need at least one that disagrees with the others. It needs to take a different stance on the same issue, and it needs to be an issue that's local to Fresno County. It can happen in other places, but it has to be an issue that is local to Fresno County. You will use these sources for the Kairos analysis of your Essay 3. You need at least one U.S. government website. You need at least one website that is local, either for Fresno County or one of the cities within Fresno County. You need at least one nonprofit website supported by experts in the field. You need at least one peer-reviewed article from EBSCOhost Academic Search Premier. Not from other places. It must be peer-reviewed, and you must have found it in a search on EBSCOhost. You need at least one article from Credo Reference. Again, this is something that you're going to find in the college library databases. You go to the A to Z alphabet, select C, and you will be given access to Credo. And Credo is a nice database. It has highly reliable encyclopedia and dictionary articles, which would be good for your use, help you to define terms or get some background explanation about a concept, that sort of thing. In substitution for any single source above, you can use a book written by an expert in the field that the book discusses. The annotated bibliography. All 7 required sources must be cited in the annotated bibliography in alphabetical order, with all required publication details included. 4 of these sources must be followed by a summary. Specifically, 2 opinion pieces must be followed by a 2 to 3 sentence summary. I would pick 2 opinion pieces that take opposing viewpoints that oppose each other on the issue. You need to summarize at least 1 government website, at least 1 peer-reviewed article from EBSCOhost. And it says 2 to 3 sentence summary, but you know, peer-reviewed articles can be very complex. So that particular summary can go longer. No worries there. 3, you'll need to write a short introduction to your annotated bibliography in which you explain your issue, what is at stake, and what the opposing opinions are. The annotated bibliography will be formatted almost the same way as a works cited page, with the following exceptions. You will include a heading with your name, the course title, my name, Dr. Starr, the assignment title, and the due date. It'll be justified left in the upper left corner. Below the heading, you will center justify a title for your annotated bibliography. That title should signal readers about what your issue is and why there is a problem. Below the title in italics, you will write a block paragraph introduction to your annotated bibliography in which you set up the conflict about your issue. And you can choose one of the following 2 organizations. A pro-con, in which the top half of your introduction explains who supports a given policy about your issue and why, and the bottom half explains who opposes that policy and why. Alternatively, historical organization will also work, in which you explain movements in time, when changes happen because of the actions taken by stakeholders, with a view to discovering what should be done under current circumstances. So either one of those will work really well for this. Below the block paragraph introduction, you will use proper formatting for a works cited page in MLA style with the hanging indents for the citation. For summaries, you will use the same margin as the second line of the citation entry, which is half an inch further to the right. Essay 3, 2,000 words, minimum count, no maximum. And of course you need in-text citations and a works cited page. Your essay 3 should follow this order. The introduction. You should talk about what the issue is. What issue of import are your rhetors addressing? And then definition. What terms are your rhetors using for this issue? Do rhetors on different sides select different terms to call this issue? That's something you would want to explain. And number 3, your thesis. You need to take a stand on the policy regarding your issue. Your stand may be to move forward with a policy change recommended by one or more sources, or to oppose a policy change recommended by a source or sources. Alternatively, your stand may be to consider the matter further, to conduct more research, or to study an alternate solution to the problem. Note that any recommendation that you make requires the support of good evidence and some expert reasoning. Your thesis must be something that your readers can get to based upon the research that you explain. 3 parts for the body. Quality, policy, quality. There we go. First, a problem and the solution. So, the first set of questions you want to answer is, have your rhetors characterized this problem or any solutions to this problem with regard to your topic? If so, how have they described this problem and or solution? You want to address that first in your body. Next, you want to address what you find compelling about their characterizations. And after you've talked about what you find compelling, then discuss what you find not compelling about their characterizations. That concludes the first section of your body, and that, that's not a paragraph really, that's probably 4 paragraphs, maybe 2, depending on what you have to say there. Second section of the body is policy. What policy claims are your rhetors making? So, explain those. Are there sufficient data and reasoning to support their policy claims? Explain that. Which policy change would reap the greatest benefit? Who would benefit and who would lose? So that's for your discussion there. And which policy do you support? What facts support your choice? What reasoning supports your choice? So you develop that in that section. The third section of the body should address the stakeholders. Please note that one of our failings in policy has been only to consider, as did the Greeks, human and preferably voting citizen stakeholders. You are strongly encouraged to be more expansive in the definition of stakeholders. People can lose things even if they're not old enough to vote. And certainly our environment can lose things even though we never allow it to vote. So, things to address for the stakeholders section. What do your rhetors characterize as harmful to any of the stakeholders? What do your rhetors characterize as beneficial to any stakeholders? Which stakeholders do your rhetors discuss? Why do you think these rhetors take an interest in these particular stakeholders? Possibly the rhetors see themselves as very much like the stakeholders. Sometimes this is true. Which stakeholders do your rhetors ignore? Why do you think these rhetors ignore these stakeholders? Okay, that's something that you should want to discuss. Which stakeholders do you want to benefit and which do you want to lose? And why them? And closing the body with what is ethical about your choice of policy? And finish the paper with the conclusion and the works cited, and the advice for the conclusion I think is the same as the advice that I always give for humanities essays. And I'm going to stop this video here.